Okay, so one of the questions that we get quite a bit is, what if I were to invest my money elsewhere instead of buying long-term care insurance? Because again, there's no guarantee that I'll ever need long-term care, and then what happens to those premiums that I've put in over all that time. So let me just give you an example here of what it looks like to not buy long-term care insurance and to take the money and to invest it instead. Now, you'll notice here that we have a sample person, and we're talking about what would have been a typical long-term care premium of $2,000 per year. And let's just say the person is 50 years old, and we can change this on our spreadsheet. But we're going to tell this person to actually take $2,000 and put it into some sort of a investment account that would generate a net 5% return after taxes. And that's presuming that you can get that money guaranteed year after year after year. So, we do know that the average cost of care today is about $80,000 per year, and it varies in different geographical locations across the country. Massachusetts, New York, Shreveport, Louisiana, Alaska, all the costs are different. But that boils down to about $220 per day. Now, instead of buying long-term care insurance with that $2,000, again, we're saying that you're putting this into an account, and you would go down to that account and you would make that deposit every single year, year after year after year after year. So you can see here after 10 years, you've put in $2,000 10 times, you've put in $20,000 yourself, but you also have growth and a 5% return on your investment, so it's actually worth $28,000. Now you come over here, you can see that the cost of care because of inflation has now grown from $80,000 to about $130,000 per year, which is close to $360 per day. So as we continue to go down here, you can see after 20 years, you've put in $40,000 of your own money, but now you have $71,000. But again, keep in mind the average cost of care 20 years from now is going to cost closer to $213,000 per year, which is about $584 per day. And as the scenario continues to play out, by age 80, you've only put in 30 years worth of, your $2,000 deposits. So that's $60,000 that you've put in, and the account now has $141,000 in it. But again, keep in mind that the average cost of care 30 years from now, just because of inflation, is going to be about $347,000 per year, which is about $950 per day. Now, these are assumptions. You can change some of these numbers. We can change some of the assumptions that are built in here, but I think this gives you a pretty good idea. What this looks like after 30 years, if we took how much money we've earmarked for long-term care at the average cost of care per day, what this means is that you've accumulated and set aside enough money in this account to only pay for about 149 days of care. And what it says that if you were faced with the average 3.1 year long-term care facility stay, never even mind home care for an extra year or two or maybe three, but even if you only had 3 years worth of long-term care in a facility, even after having gone through the $141,000 that you'd saved, you would still have an exposure of $934,000 of out-of-pocket money, which is a lot of money. And then every year, in addition to the average, so if you had a fourth year or a fifth year, now all of a sudden it's going to cost you $347,000 per year. So this is what it looks like if somebody were to say, you know what, I'm going to take that $2,000 that I was going to spend on long-term care insurance and I'm going to invest that instead. So we can show you a much better way to either pay in a one lump sum, maybe into some sort of an annuity that can then pay your long-term care premium, and it would be significantly less than this number here. But all in all, insurance is insurance and investments are investments. They're really not meant to be compared to each other because their purposes are exponentially different from one another. An investment's purpose is to get a positive return on your investment. Insurance's purpose is not to get a positive return on your investment because something traumatic or tragic would have to happen, but it's there to protect us against the unforeseeable catastrophic types of risks. So investing doesn't necessarily do what long-term care insurance is meant to do, and long-term care insurance is not meant to do what investments are designed to do. So hope this answers your question about whether or not investing the money versus buying a premium makes sense.